Hey, this is Black Re-Education Tea, where we're stepping back from the brink towards a more meaningful future. With our theme verse being, Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So if your ancestors were scattered via the transatlantic slave trade or the Mohammedan Arabic Islamic slave trade, then you are the children of Almighty. Sunini Nanini Samandla, the mighty one of Abraham, Isaac, and Akobi. Oh yes, Black history. The study of the Bible is Black history. And so you're welcome tonight. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Share the link to everyone. And let somebody know tonight that you are connected to the show. We give him all the praise. We give him all the glory. We give him all the honor because he is due all the praise and all the honor. Oh yes, share the link and text a friend. And after the show, make sure you follow us on all the channels. It is on Telegram Live, it is YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and the recording is uploaded on Bantu. You are welcome tonight to the show. All praises to Almighty Sunini Nanini Samanda. We give him all the praise and all the glory.
Waking up the Bantus from sea to sea. Black Re-Education TV. Waking up the Bantus from sea to sea. Black Re-Education TV. You'll be judged on doctrine you believe. Every idle word that you say. So as you are evil, help the blind man see. And he will show you mercy. A foolish man will imagine a vain thing. A righteous man will lift his voice and sing to the name of the Most High, King of Kings, Titan Zombie, Akobi, the Holy One, the Bantu Father, the Almighty. Through the years we have tried to get along, but in these streets we're dying. Pretty soon we'll believe in Babylon. Oh, and there'll be no more crying. In just 1 hour, Babylon will fall. Don't fear my people, keep faith in who you call. Kalimo, the Most High, King of Kings, Titan Zombie, Akobi, the Holy One, the Bantu Father, the Almighty. I am that I am. I am. I am. I am
Every time we begin to say who we are, we're being told when we say we are the chosen, we're being told that we are anti-Semitic, to shut us down. But this time, the long time, this time, the been before time.
This is what I have to say, and I think you will agree. There is someone who's been running around, claiming to be you and me. And now there's no compromising. It won't be stopped. The awakening is real. There's no compromising. And we don't care how you feel. Trust, hear, and understand. We're simply speaking truth. We're exposing that fake holy land and gathering all the proof. We are not claiming to have found everything, but the Most High helps us remember. Just like He opened up our eyes and showed our New Year's in September. We don't live in fear. We're not on our own. Shineke Modimo will never leave us alone. There's no more picking the fruit from off of the vine. It's time that we draw the line. The time has come to use the gifts the Most High gave to you. Stand up, stake your claim, bear the fruit. No more going to the nations to beg or plead. So many, not many, will bring them down to their knees. Their noses in the air, and they're still walking tall. But pride comes before a fall. Now we'll see what comes about, unless we do forget. The Most shaking in their bones. There's a longing to go home. They're waking up and exposing all the lights. Exposing all the lights. The serpent sworn to silence cannot hide a hope to be concealed. They make up laws to try and hinder you. They want to stick their venom in your skin and keep you lost, laden with sin. Corrupt your soul till you're no longer you. We are the chosen seed, the chosen seed. We are the chosen seed, chosen seed. Those who seek the diamonds, the riches of the world, and all the green are trodden down. The glory of all lands. And that's why they took you from your home. That's why they took away your throne. Put you in chains and called you 3/5 human. We are chosen seed, the chosen seed. We are chosen seed, chosen seed. Wake up, Bantu. Wake up, Bantu. Wake up, Bantu. Wake up, Bantu.
If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
Darkness falls again upon the house up on the hill. Nighttime comes, a thirst for more bloodshed. They come to kill, destroy, and steal. They will bruise your heel, but you'll overcome and crush the serpent's head. We are the chosen seed, chosen seed. We are chosen seed, chosen seed. We are the chosen seed, chosen seed. We are the chosen seed. Wake us up, Tata and Zombie. Wake us up, our Congo. Wake us up, so nene na nene. Wake us up, Limo. Wake us up, Tata and Zombie. Wake us up, our Congo. Wake us up, so nene na nene. Wake us up, Dimo. Wake us up, our Heavenly Father. Wake us up, Holy One. Wake us up, so many nene. Wake us up, Mighty One. Wake us up, Tata and Zombie. Wake us up, our Congo. Wake us up, so many nene. Wake us up, Limo. Wake us up.
Wake up, Bantu. Wake up, Bantu. Wake up, Bantu.
day the love really has waxed cold. We walk the streets of Babylon among men who have no soul. But as the tide is turning, we try to do our part. And I pray it brings a change of heart. Yeah. Now we are working tirelessly to try and spread this truth. We speak to friends and family, but sometimes there's just no use. But we're planting seeds and hope that someone else will come along and make things clear. And I pray that you will live and hear, and maybe you'll hear. Ruler Mary, Tata and Zombie, Shaniki, Congo, Murari, Ondimo, Sanini, Nabini. You'll hear Ruler Mary, Tata and Zombie, Sanini, Nabini. We do the things that please our Father. We are Bantu.
We are Bantu. We are Bantu. We are Bantu.
It's just what we do.
Me and Bantu. We are Bantu. It's just what we do. Yeah, it's just what we do. We are Bantu. We are Bantu. We are Bantu.
It's just what we do.
Me and you. We are Bantu. It's just what we do. Yeah, it's just what we do.
I once was lost, but now I'm found, and my mind has been set free. I can call upon my Father's name, and I know it's not JC. It must be hard for you to understand, because you're caught in the web of lies. And I pray you open up your eyes and recognize the moving Mary, Tata and Zombie, Shaniki, Congo, Murari, Mondino, Sanini, Nabini.
You'll see us.
Moving Mary, Tata and Zombie, Sanini, Nabini. We do the things that please our Father. We are Bantu.
We are Bantu. We are Bantu. We are Bantu.
It's just what we do.
Me and Bantu. We are Bantu. It's just what we do. Yeah, it's just what we do. We are Bantu. We are Bantu. We are Bantu.
It's just what we do.
Me and you. We are Bantu. It's just what we do. Yeah, it's just what we do. We are Bantu. We are Bantu. We are Bantu.
It's just what we do.
And we are Bantu. It's just what we do. Yeah, it's just what we do.
Let's worship our Bantu Father, our Bantu Father, yeah. Give him praise. Yeah. And give him all the glory. Yeah. Give him all the praise. Yes, we worship you, Father. Yes, we worship you. Hallelujah. Our Bantu Father, yeah. Our Bantu Father. Oh, we worship you. Yes, we do. Hallelujah, Father. Let's worship the Most High today. take his name in vain. We only walk in righteousness. We don't cover, steal, or lie. We're the children of the Most High. No time for sleep or slumber. Wake up and live again. Receive the breath of life. Inhale and breathe it in. They want to stop this awakening. To this fight, I will swiftly run. Find two boots on the ground until the job is done. From the mountains high to the valleys low, our mighty one. We give him all the glory. We magnify his name. We don't break his commandments or take his name in vain. We only walk in righteousness. We don't cover, steal, or lie. We're the children of the Most High. We give him all the glory. We magnify his name. We don't break his commandments or take his name in vain. We only walk in righteousness. We don't cover, steal, or lie. We're the children of the Most High. We give him all the glory. We magnify his name. We don't break his commandments or take his name in vain. We only walk in righteousness. We don't cover, steal, or lie. We're the children of the Most High. Oh, we give him all the glory. We magnify his name. We don't break his commandments or take his name in vain. We only walk in righteousness. We don't cover, steal, or lie. We're the children of the Most High. Yeah. We're the children of the Most High. We're kings and queens. We're the children of the Most High. We're kings and queens. We're the children of the Most High. We're kings and queens. We're the children of the Most High. We're kings and queens. We're the children of the Most High. We're kings and queens. We're the children of the Most High. We're kings and queens. We're the children of the Most High. We're kings and
Thanks to Nini Nalini for breaking down every obstacle in the path to the redemption of his people. And we join the prophets that said, therefore the redeemed of Sunini Nanini shall return and come with singing unto Zion. That's what they said in the Bible. But we know it's Jerusalem. It's this.
In paradise, 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 in paradise. Ingefuna ukuya Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Ingefuna ukuya Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanna go to paradise, where the roads gold and the weather's nice, where the Salem ain't on fight. No moon or sun, cause you be the light. The way truth and life. So many na nene, Tata and Zami, mighty one of Akobi. Out New Egypt, you gon' lead us. You the one to redeem us. You love us but don't need us. False doctrine, you gon' free us. Yeah, yeah. I I can hear the shaking of the bones. All cause the one on the throne. Akobi, yeah, we gone home. Sunini, please take us home. Eat paradise, eat paradise, yeah. Eat paradise, eat paradise, eat paradise, eat paradise, eat paradise, eat paradise. Ifuna ukuya Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Ingefuna ukuya Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Yeah.
Okay, greetings tonight once more in the precious name of our Father, Almighty Sunini Nanini Samandla. He is the mighty one of Abraham, the mighty one of Isaac, and the mighty one of Akobi. Welcome tonight once more to Black Re-Education TV, UK Bantu Exodus, Caribbean Bantu Productions, Robert A. Headley on Facebook, ThyKingdom.com on Facebook, and Nkosi Zoonaadh1 on Facebook, and Telegram Live. Hallelujah. Welcome tonight to question and answer. And you know, there are always going to be more questions than answers. But we'll try our best tonight to share with you answers to the questions that you might want to ask. We give all the praise and all the thanks to Almighty Sunini Nanini Samandla tonight. So welcome. It's Q&A with Elder Nkosi Zoonaadh1. We give him all the praise and all the thanks. Our first question and answer session for the Gentile month of October. And so we thank him right away. We take the first question. Is speaking in tongues legitimate? That's a strong, strong statement. Is it legitimate? Well, from the scriptures, we see that in the book of Acts, repeatedly, there was the experience of speaking in tongues. And there is speaking in tongues, tongues of men, there's tongues of angels, there's known languages, speaking in known languages that you yourself are ignorant of, all right? And there is also speaking languages that only Sunini will understand. So I believe that people will speak in other tongues. There's some times that you don't have words to express what you're experiencing or feeling, and this has always been there. What we have to qualify that with is a distinction between the spirit of Sunini Nanini and the spirit of the Ruach and the spirit that the nations suggested, or the Holy Ghost, as they say. See, in the book of Acts, there is an experience that the disciples had. And in that experience, they spoke languages that were known to the people who came to celebrate the murder of Msindisi. So they were all gathered in Jerusalem, Ikailame of South, at the behest and the request of the Romans and the Hebrew Israelites, right? The people of the Levant. They were there together with the Romans and the Greeks. They had finished destroying Msindisi, murdering him, and pretending to the world that he had to die for the sins, faking his identity with that of JC. But when they were gathered there in the book of Acts, which we'll read in a little bit, Acts chapter 2, those who came to Jerusalem from all the nations they heard those disciples, those followers of Msindisi, speaking in a language that they understood, the visitors. They were all speaking the language of the people that came to celebrate the murder. And we'll read those people just now. But I want you to get the picture. So here you are. You didn't learn a language, right? To the Pharaoh, Joseph was speaking in tongues because Joseph, in his first connection with the Pharaoh, he could only stay at step number 3. And the Pharaoh descended to step number 4 to speak with him because those were the languages that Joseph knew. But overnight, Sunini taught Joseph languages that allowed Joseph to ascend the 70th stair, speaking languages that the Pharaoh understood and all Egyptians understood, the languages of the kingdoms of that were controlled by Egypt. And Joseph understood what he was saying. Sunini taught him. See, those are experiences that we know we don't need to mix up with the Ralaba Shalaba kind of business that the nations get involved in. That which is bestowed by the Ruach HaKodesh. You see? And so they spoke with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. We saw on other occasions where when they were filled with the Spirit, they spoke languages that were heavenly languages, languages that were understood in the heavenly realm. Our grandmothers sometimes groan and it comes out as though they're saying things and groanings. And the Spirit, and the Bible speaks of the Spirit expressly that in the latter times, these kind of groanings that cannot be uttered, groanings. I know I have not been teaching much on the spirit of Sunini Nanini, but the spirit of Sunini Nanini enables us to even understand languages that we have not known. But somebody is speaking to you and you might be able to speak back to them. These are all possible things. But the experience that you refer to as Pentecost is not a Bantu feast, it's not a feast of Sunini Nanini. It was a celebration of the murder of the Bantu Messiah. And then the Romans turn it into a feast. And so you get the Feast of Pentecost. You can never find any Feast of Pentecost referred to in prophecy, in history, in the Old Testament, because it never existed until the Romans instituted it. And it somehow get confuffled with the experience that the disciples had the day that they were filled with the Spirit and began to speak in the languages of those people that were there. And you and I in the Pentecostal circles, you know what we're talking about. You know when somebody was telling you, repeat this syllable over and over, fast, until your mouth gone and start talking things, You know those experiences. In Christianity, we know them. We can't say we don't know those things. And somebody is coming behind you in your ears and they're repeating this thing, And then you also know the genuine experiences where people were filled with the Spirit and began to speak in other tongues. So I think that it's legitimate, but we can't confuse it with what the nations are talking about. See, the spirit of Sunini Nanini only occupies bodies that he has formed. So right away, there's a distinction. Msindisi was teaching this. He said, if I go not away, the Comforter cannot come. But if I go away, I will send him. Even the Spirit of truth. I'm going to start reading it from there. Let me just bring up a little reference to the Spirit. Spirit of truth. And in the book of John, I'm going to take you to John chapter 14. So if you have your Bibles, just be prepared to turn to John chapter 14. We're going to begin to read at somewhere around verse number 15. John the book, the Gospel according to them of John, and we're going to begin to read in chapter 14, verse 15. Let me just make sure you can get to see what we're talking about here. It says here in verse 15, if you love me, keep my commandments. I'm Sindisi speaking. Now, these commandments that we're talking about is the commandments of Sunini Nanini, the very commandments of Sunini Nanini that Moses repeated. These are commandments of Sunini Nanini. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world, now you need to watch this. You know the God so loved the world story? The Spirit of truth is the Spirit of Sunini Nanini, is the Spirit of Ubuntu. That Spirit is not with everyone and cannot be received by everyone. You see, the Spirit of Ubuntu would cause the nations to love me and my black skin. And that same Spirit will make me love them like I do, even though they don't look like me. And not because I'm talking the truth and speaking the truth hard and strongly means that I hate anybody or hate white people or Chinese people or Asian people. No, the truth is hard, and saying the truth, it makes it comes over. Like I said to many people, if you come to this knowledge and you want to listen to the teachings, how I teach these scriptures, you might have to be strong to stomach the presentations, because I cut right down to the bone. You see? And so I'm saying it as the scripture says it. Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because the world seeth him not, neither knoweth him. But you know him. He's speaking of the Spirit of Ubuntu. For he dwell with you and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you yet a little while, and the world seeth me no more. But you see me, because I live, you shall live also. And that day you shall know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you. That's the Spirit of Ubuntu. You exist for me. You cannot live without me. I cannot live without you. That's the Spirit of Sunini Nanini. It's the Spirit of Ubuntu. And so the world is not going to be able to receive the Spirit, because it's going to make them love me and don't discriminate me against me and fix the damages that they have done to black and brown people around the world. You can bury your head as an ostrich in the sand and think that nothing was done to our people. Just look at the lives of our people, how we struggle in relationships, how we struggle in nearly every area of life, and how we have been discriminated against by all other nationalities or nations. That's a reality. There is a reason for that. And don't blame yourself because of the color of your skin. It's not you. It's that spirit that is in you that the world cannot access and receive. Because you have been put in a different situation. Because Sunini has set you apart. And those who don't think that we are set apart, you will see that. Hallelujah. So, speaking in tongues is not connected with Christianity. It's not connected with the day of Pentecost. as you read in the book of Acts. This spirit of Sunini Nanini has been on the prophets. And that was not Pentecost. And there's no feast in the Old Testament called Pentecost. David said it. When the spirit of Sunini is upon me, I will dance like David. That's what happened to David. The spirit of Sunini Nanini came on him. The spirit of Sunini Nanini came on the prophets. There is no reference to Pentecost. Don't connect speaking in tongues with Pentecost. Don't connect speaking in tongues with the Ruach. Don't connect speaking in tongues with Shekinah. If you're doing that, that's a different spirit. Back in the days, in the old, the younger, yes, let's call it the olden days. Even people who were demon possessed spoke in tongues. And you from Christianity, you know what I'm talking about. Demons speak with tongues. So we got to be careful. We got to be careful. If you're connecting the legitimacy of speaking in tongues with Christianity, with Pentecost, with the Ruach, there is a problem there. That's a different spirit. And there is speaking in tongues there. But that's not the spirit of Sunini Nanini. You cannot speak in tongues and hate me because of the color of my skin. You can't. And you cannot speak in tongues and don't keep the commandments. I know tonight is not a teaching night, it's a question. If you are speaking in other tongues and you don't keep the commandments, you don't keep Sunini's feast days, you've got problems. And that's what Christianity offered us. It offered us an alternative to Sunini Nanini, our Father, and the commandments. So there's a little dichotomy there. Say, yes, I believe that you can speak in another language that you have not learned. I believe that you can be enabled by the spirit of Sunini Nanini to utter words and language that you have not learned yourself. I believe that you can speak in languages that maybe only angels can understand. Nobody on earth will understand. But if that is connected with the Ruach, no way, no way. If you are not keeping the commandments, but you're speaking in tongues, no way, no way, Jose. So those are some of the things that we need to factor in when we talk about the legitimacy of speaking in tongues. Acts chapter 2. What happened? And when the day for the celebration of the murder, I'm going to ignore the word so you don't connect the story. So I can disconnect the story so you can get the picture. And when the day of the celebration of the murder of Nkosi, which was organized by the Romans, the Eastern Europeans, and the Greeks, all Europeans. The disciples were praying in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled the place where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues. I've divorced verse 1 from verse 2, 3, and 4 and going on. You have to be able to do that. Don't call this experience that the disciples are having here Pentecost, so that you could understand it. Pentecost is the celebration of the murder of Nkosi. And you'll see what I'm saying. This story will pick up just now again. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as of fire, and it sat on each of them. And they were all filled with the spirit of Sunini Nanini and began to speak with other tongues. Now we need to qualify this one. They began to speak other languages as they were enabled, or the spirit of Sunini Nanini gave them utterance. The spirit of Ubuntu allowed them to speak. And they were dwelling. Now bring back verse number 1 here. And when the day of Pentecost, which is the celebration of the martyr, come back to verse number 5. And they were dwelling at Jerusalem for that celebration of the martyr, Jews. You get the picture now. So remove that piece that they put in between there about the experience of being filled and they were speaking a language. See that piece? Now they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Ikayalame of South, Jews, including devout men out of every nation under heaven. They were not there to worship Sunini Nanini. These men that were speaking in tongues were speaking to them, judgment of Sunini Nanini. Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded. What was noised abroad? When it was noised that there were some men speaking in languages of the visitors that came for the celebration of Pentecost, the murder of the Messiah, Nsindisi, the Bantu man. When this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded. That's an important word. To be confounded means you are left speechless. You know, you try to lie. You know? And while you are lying, for example, I brought a document to show you that what you're just about to do, is telling lies. This document is saying different to what you said. Confounded you. I have confounded you. I have produced evidence to the contrary of what you are about, is saying, or is doing. So the multitude were confounded. And when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, the people that came. Because this is the reason why they were confounded and confused. Every man heard them speak in his own tongue or language. These people that were speaking the language of the visitors that came for the celebration of the murder of Nsindisi in Acts chapter 1, where they speak of the ascension or his last visible appearance. Because they heard them speak in his own language, the language of the people that came. Verse number 7. And they were all amazed. And another word for marvel is bewildered. They began to get diarrhea, in other words. What happened to them is the same thing that happened to Belshazzar and his concubines and his lords and his friends that were drinking and took out the vessels, the holy vessels that Nebuchadnezzar brought from Jerusalem e Kailami. He saw a handwriting on the wall in Isikosa. Mini mini tekeli yupansi. And he got immediate diarrhea, confounded, judgment. So now I read. And they were all amazed and marveled or confounded, right? Or stupefied, saying one to another, what is this about? Behold, are not all these which speak our foreign languages Galileans? They are all one people. They are unlearned fishermen from the Eastern Cape. Why are they speaking our languages where we come from? They've never been there. They've never learned those languages. But now we are hearing them speak and we understand what they're saying. They're speaking about the judgment of Sunini on us for the murder that we did, for what we come to celebrate that we call Pentecost. So what you have done now, you have linked the word Pentecost with the experience of the judgment pronounced by these disciples in foreign languages that they have never learned. That's speaking in tongues. Hear them, hear them. Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we, every man in our own tongue wherein we were born? When did they learn our language? When did they go to our country? How are they speaking our languages? And why are they speaking of the judgment of Zoonaadh1 for the murder that we have that was committed and that we have come to celebrate, called Pentecost? So when you celebrate Pentecost, you are celebrating the murder of Msindasi, like the wicked Gentiles that came together, which I will name just now, and not the experience of speaking in other tongues. We're duped. So when you say, I'm Pentecostal, you say you're identifying yourself with the murderers who came to celebrate and were confounded by the words spoken by the Galileans, who were all one people but were speaking foreign languages. What were the languages? They said, verse 8. And how hear we, every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born? Persians, the children of Iran, the Medo-Persian Empire. They were there, joining with the Romans to celebrate the murder, the conquest of the Greeks and the Romans and the Eastern Europeans, the Hebrew Israelites. They came, they said, the Persians were there. The Iranians, the Medes were there. The children of Elam were there. No, don't mix up the Persians and Medes with the children of Elam. The Persians, the Medes are Arabs. The Arabs were there. The Ammonites are the children of Elam, son of Shem. Elam could be considered not as a Gentile, but he could now be considered as a heathen, because the children of Elam knew Zoonaadh1. They learned about him from Noah and from Shem, and they departed. And the dwellers in Mesopotamia, that's where Elam is from. Elam is from and they teach us that Elam is the Iranians. No, they're not. The Medo-Persian Empire came to rule from Tunisia the night Babylon fell. They set up their palace there in Susa. They ruled from Tunisia. Darius was a Mede. I think it's Darius. And the dwellers of Mesopotamia. What is Mesopotamia? It is the Fertile Crescent. Wherever the river is, the shore, the banks of the river, both sides, is what is referred to as a Fertile Crescent. That is where people will live. They have water that they need, and they use and direct the water to irrigate the land. So Mesopotamia is on the Nile River in the east, and it's on the Niger River in the west. In the west, the children of Shem lived, and in the east, the children of Japheth lived on the Nile River. So you hear Ivan van Sertima speaking about the Nile Valley civilization. Yes. Hallelujah. And so, the dwellers of Mesopotamia and in Judah, don't say Judea. The EA is added on there to move the location to the Levant. Judah is on the south side of Jerusalem. Bethlehem in South Africa is part of Judah. It's on the south side of the city Jerusalem. So the people were there. Those are the Romans. It was occupied by the Romans. Pontius Pilate was the governor of Judah. He was the Roman ambassador to Judah on the continent. And people came as far as from Cappadocia and in Pontus and in Asia, Pamphylia, Perga, Egypt, in the parts of Libya, North Africa, Cyrene, strangers of Rome and friends of Rome. Jews were there, and their converts, proselytes, Cretes, and the Arabs were there, Arabians. This is not Pentecost as you think it is to be. Speaking in tongues, all of them come for that. No, they came to celebrate the murder of Nsindisi. And while they were there, this phenomena that Nsindisi prophesied took place. Go and tarry, wait for the promise. And it happened. And so you connect this murderous celebration by the Persians and the Medes and the children of Elam that departed from Sunini-Nanini, they that dwell in Mesopotamia, Negro land, and the Nile Valley, and Judah up south, Cappadocia farther afield, Pontus farther afield, Asia, India, Asia, China, Asia, Perga, Pamphylia, Egypt, in the parts of Libya and Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews, proselytes, converts, Cretes, Arabs, all the enemies of the Bantu are there. Hear me tonight. All the enemies that participated in the demise of the Bantu people then and now were there. And they are here again. And they were all, no, Cretes, we do hear them speak. Now listen carefully. We do hear them speak in our languages or tongues. So they were speaking tongues of men, not tongues of angels. They were speaking tongues of men. If I begin to babble things that because of the state of my heart to Sunini-Nanini, he will understand. If I pick up a trumpet and blow that trumpet, he understands the voice that is in that trumpet. You need to understand this. If I pick up the drums and begin to beat from the heart and saying what I'm feeling in these drums, Sunini hears. Hallelujah. Europe, no one talking about. They are afraid of the drums. Hallelujah. Cretes and Arabians, you do hear them speak in our own tongues. The wonderful. Now, this is it. It is the judgment. You see, when they insert the word wonderful, you are left to think it was glorious. No. It was judgment. Confounding can be wonderful. Confounding and wonderful cannot be in the same. It's like a fountain bringing forth bitter and sweet. Confounding them and then wonderful works. No, you're messing it up. They're messing it up so you don't get it. They were hearing in their tongue and language the condemnation of Sunini-Nanini for what they have just done. Let's continue on so you get the picture. And and they were all amazed and bewildered and were in doubt, saying one to another, what is this? That's not wonderful. That's not wonderful. What is the meaning of this? We come here to do what we're here. But they're talking to us, and we know they're saying, Sunini will judge you. You are going to be destroyed. It doesn't matter how long. He is going to judge you. You will have to pay for the murder of the son that you come to celebrate. Peter, hearing them speaking, Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said to them. Now, you know the first thing people do when they hear the judgment of Sunini-Nanini coming out from your mouth, they begin to find fault with what you're saying. They begin to find fault with what you're saying and to make light and slight of what you're saying. And Peter detected them. This was Peter who was shy but now filled with the spirit of Ubuntu. But Peter, standing up with 11, lifted up his voice and said unto them, you men of Judah, or you that have gathered here in Judah, in South Africa, and all you that dwell at Jerusalem in South Africa, be this known unto you, and hearken, hear my words. He's beginning to speak like Masindisi now. Hearken and hear my words. For these are not drunk men. See, this is the first thing. This is the first. They discredit you. They say the devil make you change people's names. Is the devil made him do it? I don't know anything about it. They discredit you. That's what they try to do. And make slight of what you're saying. So Peter's saying, these men are not drunken as you suppose. They're not mad. They're not drunk. Seeing it is about the 3rd hour of the day. 6, 7, 8. 8 o'clock in the morning. The 3rd hour of the day. But this is that which was spoken of by the prophet Joel. He's saying, this is not Pentecost. This is a fulfillment or partial fulfillment of a prophecy spoken by Joel. What did Joel say? And Peter began to quote what Joel said. So this, what they were coming for, is not what Peter is giving them. They heard the judgment prophesied to them, and now Peter is telling them, don't slight what these men have said to you or what you're hearing here. This is that which was spoken of by the prophet Joel. And it shall come to pass in the last days, said Suninani, because Peter was convinced at the time when Masindisi was there, that was the end of the captivity. That would have been the end. But Masindisi said to him, no, you don't make your own predictions as to when this is coming to end. For the Father has set it in his power when he was going to bring it to end. It came to end in 2020. That's the promise he made to Abraham when he said to him, know for a surety that your seed will be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and the nation whom they will serve will afflict them 400 years. That's us, 2020. 20 times 20 is 400. And so Peter is not mincing words with them, and he's saying to them, don't suggest that these men are drunk and stupid and they don't know what they're saying because you're thinking about fishermen and these men might be drunk because they're just going to catch fish or whatever. No, this is what Joel was saying. That Sunini, I said, Sunini Nanini, I will pour out, I will cause to rain, Pula, I will cause to rain my spirit upon all flesh they put there. All the flesh of your sons, all the flesh of your sons, and all the flesh of your daughters. And they shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall have dreams. Peter was quoting word for word what Joel said. But sadly, it was not the end time. Now that was the occasion. That was the occasion of that speaking in tongues, and it was a known language. Now, there are other different experiences where people speak, but they did not know what they were saying. But they were talking a language that somebody else was understanding. And while they're babbling away, thinking, saying something that they don't even know, when they stop, the person next day began to answer them in a language that they don't even know what the person is saying. And when the person talk and stop, they figure that it's their turn to talk. And then they begin to talk. They began to talk. And then the person began to cry, began to have an experience. But that person that is speaking don't know what he is saying to that person. You get the message? See, those fishermen there, they did not know what they were saying in judgment to those gatherers there at Pentecost Day. But the men were understanding what they were hearing. But the men who were speaking couldn't understand. You understand the level of what was happening. That's high spirituality. Where Sunini takes control and began to speak his judgment like he did with the donkey. The donkey was speaking in tongues. The donkey was speaking in tongues. That's not donkey language. Donkey didn't even understand what donkey was saying, but donkey was speaking. But the disobedient prophet was understanding what donkey was saying. Because donkey was saying, all this time you were riding me, and I will carry you anywhere you feel like going. And this one time I say, I ain't going there. You must understand that I'm seeing trouble there. There is somebody with a drawn sword there. I ain't going there. I prefer to fall down here with you. Because the prophet couldn't hear the voice of Sunini Nanini. Sunini spoke through the donkey. The donkey don't speak human language. So donkey is unfruitful in his understanding. But the prophet understood what donkey was saying. You get the picture. That's the spirit of Sunini Nanini. Ralaba Shalaba has got nothing to do with that. Day of Pentecost has got nothing to do with that. But we got some more to go on that matter. Very extended answer. That's a long question. And I couldn't just tell you yes or no. I don't do it yes or no answers because it has to have an explanation. Thank you for that question. What was that? That's just the first question. Sorry about that. Okay. Sister McKessie. My question is, can you please explain and elaborate on why it is important to keep the sample? If you keep this question right there so I can take them in pieces. Why is it important to keep the Samba and the feast days according to our land and not where we are scattered to? Right. So I'm in England, but the Samba is going to come in South African time, let's say 5 o'clock. That means in England, it's going to be, I think, 4 o'clock. They're in front of us. I'm going to be behind and they'll be in front. 5, I'll be 4. When they'll be 5, right? I'll be 4. When I'm going to blow the trumpet, I've got to blow the trumpet when they say 5. When Sunini dictate to Sunini's people, Sunini's feasts, that is Sunini's feasts. If you read them, it says, these are the feasts in Leviticus chapter 23. These are the feasts, not the Bantu feasts. You see, if it's Bantu feast, you could do it when you feel like. But these are the feast days of Sunini Nanini. And Sunini Nanini spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Akobi. This is not children of Israel. They never keep these things. And say unto them concerning the feasts of Sunini Nanini, which he has proclaimed to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. These are not Bantu feasts. So Bantu can't keep, feel like keeping it when you feel like. No. Uno got to do it when Sunini said it must be done, because it's his feast. And he's saying it is according to his time in the Holy Land. When you miss the Holy Land and you think it's the Levant among the Arabs, they dictated to you when the time is going to be. You see, like how the two, when they got Ramadan, they tell you when they see the moon so you can start celebrating in other parts. So the land dictate to its people. If you were Arabs, you will keep the feast according to Arab Jerusalem. If you're Hebrew Israelite, you got to do the feast where it's done in the Levant time. The land dictates the feast. Sunini owns this land. And he gave it to Abraham. He said, unto thee have I given this land. So he owns the land and it's his feast. So you have to keep Sunini's feast. And Sister McKessie, you know that this is a revelation. Live right now. You have to keep Sunini's feast according to the time in Sunini's land. So if I go away from Sunini's land and I can't keep the Passover in the right time, you're allowed to come 1 month after. Come once. Let's say you're on a journey, you couldn't get back. There are people who are allowed to come 1 month after to celebrate, because you have to come to the land. You have to connect with the land. And because we are not in the land, we are doing Sunini's feast according to Sunini's time in Sunini's land. So when everybody at 5 o'clock is blowing the trumpet in South Africa, it doesn't matter where you are, whatever 5 o'clock is in South Africa, translate to where you are, is South Africa dictates when you blow. And when you blow, all of us synchronize at one time. We all blowing the same time. You understand what is happening in the presence of Sunini Nanini? I'm telling him through the voice of the trumpet, my heart. And you are telling him, and we're telling him. He said, I've heard the cry of my people. So you need to understand that when you are doing and keeping the feast of Sunini Nanini, you are connecting spiritually with Sunini Nanini. And that's what the nation said. Don't keep them laws, because if you do that, you're breaking us. Because when you keep the laws, you're connecting with Sunini Nanini. You don't need to connect with him, connect with us. And the Romans were brutal. They say, we are not even going to make you even remember the Samba. Let's change the day to Sunday. So if you're a Christian, you got to come on the Sunday. Come on the day of Baal, the Lord. And we did. Sunini's feast is his. It's not my feast. So I can't do what I want to do on that feast. It's Sunini feast. And I'm joining with Sunini in his feast. Speak unto the children of Akobi and say unto them concerning the feast of Sunini Nanini, which ye shall proclaim to be holy, even these are my feasts. And this is how I want it to be done, and when I want it to be done, and why I want it to be done. We are connecting with Sunini Nanini. That's spiritual connection. The Romans decided they will break. The oral connection with the word, the Eastern Europeans decided they will break. And so what they do, you will see them. September is coming. This is August. In September, they will go down and celebrate Rosh Hashanah, their New Year. That's not ours. But they know it is a springtime up south. So they will celebrate it in springtime up south. That's not spring in their time, in their place. They're doing it according to the biblical thing. But so if you join them, you will think that they're true because it look like the same time, space, season. But they never will do the right day, because that is a holy day. A holy, you shall proclaim them as holy days, special days to Sunini Nanini. And if they do that, if they come in on the right day and time, they will be worshiping Sunini Nanini. That is why the Bantu is peculiar. He comes in on the day of Sunini Nanini. And you haven't heard anything yet, who we really are. We connect with him in that day, and he speaks with us on that day. And when you desist, according to the Shona word for Samba or Sabbath, Sabbata, is desist. And when you desist, he will insist. He will speak to you on that day. It's his day, and you've come before him. See, you just don't sing it, you do it. Sunini, I come to you. Let my heart be changed, renewed. You get it? You come to him on his day, his feast day. He said, I will meet with you. Come. Sit with me. Forget about the cares, Bantu. Forget about the cares of this world. This day, just sit in my presence. So the Romans say, they're going to need a day. We're going to give them Sunday, the day of Baal, the day that is not the day. And they will come and sit down. And who are they listening to? Baal. So when the pastor get up from there and start raping, you understand he was listening to Baal. You think it was Sunini Nanini, but that was the Ruach. You get the picture. If you want to see the operation of the Ruach, look for those Pentecostal preachers, the originators, the Copelands and them. You will see what the Ruach is doing in them. Watching their eyes, you will see what the Ruach is doing there. I mean, when you want to see the demise of the kingdom of Babylon, America, and the others, you just need to look at their president. That's the operation of the Ruach. So we keep Sunini's feast days. It's important for we are coming in on the day with him. We say, Sunini, I come to you. Let my heart be changed, renewed, flowing from the grace that I find in you. Mudimo, you know I come to know the weaknesses I see in me will be stripped away by the power of your love. And while he's sitting there with you, you're saying to Sunini Nanini, hold me close, let your love surround me. Bring me near, draw me to your side. And as I wait, I'll rise up like an eagle. I will soar with you. Your spirit lead me on. In the power of your love, come sitting in his presence. They don't want you to sit down with Sunini Nanini on the samba. He is there. He rested. He didn't even need it. But he created a situation for us to come and sit in his presence. He has not called everybody there. This is his children he's talking to. He says, speak unto the children of Akobi. I mean, you can see the fake Isis Ra and L in space. You know it's not that. You know it's Akobi. It's not Esau. Esau ain't got no time for this business. Hey, if Sunini like east, Esau go west. If Sunini like Bantu, Esau look for Canaanite wives. That's what he did. He is opposite. And so he allowed the spirit of Cain to possess him. Esau is a vessel of Cain and Lucifer. That's why he facilitates the children of Cain. You see, this matter is very serious and very spiritual. If you think this thing is come dine with me, it's not like that. This is a dividing is taking place. A shifting is taking place. And a sifting at the same time. Sunini knows those who are his. He knows them. You didn't hear him sing this. He said, my sheep. He used a sheep so you understand. Knows my voice. And a stranger, they will not follow. You understand that? That is very deep. See, I show you what I mean. I show you what I mean. My sheep knows my voice. If I ask you who is speaking, you says, Elder speaking. You know my voice. When I say, and he went up out of Egypt, you know that's elders put those words together like that. And they become the catalyst for Genesis chapter 13, verse number 1. But you have not seen me. You don't see me. This is the glory. This is the glory of this resurrection. You know it's me, but you don't see my body. That's what a glorified body will look like. You can't see it, but you can know I'm talking with you. I hear my mother's voice. I can hear my daddy's voice, but I don't see them. You understand? You know it's me talking, but you can't see me. Hallelujah. So when Sunini comes in on that day, we are delighted to be there to greet him. We're always there. We're coming in on the samba. We're coming in on that special day of his to be with him. Hallelujah. Let me see if I got any part of the question that I've missed. So it says, so we're clear on, we do it at South Africa time, that's the land. And the land dictates to the people that carry the DNA of that land. L-A-N-D, D-N-A. The reverse of land, DNA, connects you with the land. L-A-N-D-N-A. L-A-D-N-A. Your DNA and the land is Sunini's land that he gave to Abraham and to us, the descendants. And so we connect on the Samba with Sunini Nani via the land. So wherever the land dictates to us Sunini's times and seasons. Hallelujah. And you'll see it when we come to celebrate Passover. 14 days after the new year will be Passover. Those nations, they will celebrate Rosh Hashanah in September. And 6 months after, they're telling you about Passover. Deception, oh, that's not the word. He said 14 days after the new year, you must celebrate the Passover. That's Bantu Passover. Esau don't do that. Esau don't even care about Passover. And if possible, Esau will join with the heathen. You saw Esau. And if you didn't see Esau, Esau saw you. He is the embodiment of Cain. Not because he is Cain, but he allowed the spirit of the Ruach, desiring the Shekinah glory, to take over him. And that's why he became an enemy of Akobi. And that's why Rome chose him to put him over Jerusalem. He was put there. You remember Herod expanding the temple precincts? And the disciples telling him in the sea, oh, Herod was doing. He said, this thing is coming down. Oh, this thing is coming down. It's coming down. And the day it come down, run. If you're outside, don't come back. If you're inside, run. Yeah. That was the celebration they came to celebrate. Anyhow, it says here, the Samban feast days according to our land and not where. Yeah, I think I've satisfied the answer. So the land in the reverse dictates the time of the Samba. So if you Bantu find yourself in America, in Japan, Indonesia, and Guyana, and Australia, wherever you are, hear the time in South Africa. We publish it every week on the Facebook pages, all 3 pages. Hear the time. And when the time says time to blow, because the sun is going down in South Africa, Samba time, you pick up your trumpet and blow at the same time the sun is setting in South Africa. You might be big up in the sun might be high over your head, but that sun is setting on that land of Sunini Nani, your land. You are connected to your land. If you in the diaspora start blowing the trumpet at the right time, you are connecting with the land. The land and the DNA, L-A-N-D, is because of your DNA. You connect with your land. You connect with Arab lands, then you invite Arab spirit. You go back and get the Kaaba going behind you there. And you go to the land of the Eastern Europeans there in the Levant, then you invite the Ruach and Shekinah. You understand your problems. You are inviting things that has nothing to do with you. Hallelujah. Thank you. Next question, please. Let's see. I know this one is a bit slow, but we're going here. Since the wicked nations turned the maps upside down, how can we accurately chart the Holy Land? Let me just hide this thing. And according to the scriptures. Well, I don't know if the map is turned upside down. You see, what I know is that this earth has got a sea, and if the sea is level, then you can't speak of upside down accurately. There can be high elevations from like a mountain jutting out in the sea, and low elevation, a low-lying plain or something of the sort. And if you want to know where the lowest part is, watch where the rivers run. The rivers will run from a high place to a low place. That's why we know the Mediterranean Sea, Egypt is lower down from South Africa, because the water is coming from the Great Lakes of South Africa, and far up is in the Congo and running down into Egypt. That's lower. South Africa is higher. Now, if you take a glass of water, which I have here, and then this was one of the things I had to demonstrate to those disgusting people that, anyhow, you see this glass of water? When you put it down on the table, it doesn't matter the shape of the glass or the container. The water, once it's settled, like the sea, once the sea is settled, I'm going to teach on this one day, it's level. It doesn't matter the shape of the top of that water is level. And you want to take a measurement from one side of the water to the table will be equal to the next side of the water to the table. You see? Because that's a level. So how do you get to turn the earth upside down? It don't spin anyway. The water that is on the sea, it stays there. On a nice calm day, you look out there, it's level. That's how we build the spirit level, a builder's tool. When you put the spirit level on a piece of earth or block or anything where you're doing, when you see that bubble comes and sit equally between those two lines, is the equivalent of this water sitting equally between this glass here. Meaning this surface of this water, not the top of the glass, the surface of this water is level and is always level. You cannot bend that level, that water level. The glass is bending, but the water cannot bend. It is always going to be level. You jokey scientists. You jokey scientists. So here is the understanding. The sea and a piece of land sticking out on the sea. You can't turn this upside down. What happens? You just need to orient it to the way the water is running. South Africa, Egypt. The water is going to run down. This landmass is leaning. But the level of the water there at Egypt and the level of the water there at South Africa is the same level on a calm day. It doesn't matter the shape of the earth on which the water is contained. The level of the water is level around this whole earth. Take a drain, fill it with water. Take a pipe, a gutter, fill it with water. That water is level here and level there. It cannot bend. Sonini made the order. It is the equivalent of male and female. That law that causes them to produce offspring is not going to change. I mean, they're trying to change it right now by they're doing clones. You know, them clones, they're going to be filled with the spirit of Lucifer. Yeah. So it's not very accurate to say that the map is turned upside down. You and I have been presented with a world that is spinning like a ball. But the earth is not spinning like a ball. The water on the earth is level on a very calm day. And it doesn't go around any corners. It stays level. What you get when you see something moving away, if you're close to this object, you're going to see the full height of the object. But if this object is going away from you, the farther it goes away from you, the smaller it becomes in terms of its level, the point on which it is level with the surface of the water. For example, a ship. That big ship is near to you and it goes away from you, it's going to become a small. but the level of the ship is still in contact with the water, and the water is still level. So what is happening is something we call perspective. Your eye is tricking you, telling you that that ship is getting smaller. The ship can't get smaller. The distance it moves away from you gives you the illusion that the ship has become smaller. Or when you stand on a railway track and it looks to you like the lines are merging. The lines can't merge. Never will. It's your eyes tricking you, telling you by perspective it look like it's merging. And the train come past you and gone past that location that was merging, and it wasn't derailed. Or and I like to use this, I remember Tanveer give me this example. It was a wonderful example. He says, sir, what about the Airbus A380 or something like the Airbus? He said that's a massive plane on the tarmac. And when that plane go up in the air, it look like a little dot. It vanish. That's perspective, the vanishing point, the place at which things vanish in perspective, in relationship to the horizon. Make it look to your eyes that it's disappeared. It can't disappear. That Airbus 380 is going to go up and get small, 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 and then you say you can't see it and it disappear. It then disappear. You can't see it anymore. Get a binoculars and put it back in view, and you see it again. Get a stronger one, and it comes closer. And then if you can't find a strong enough one because it's gone, listen, it's going to deposit its cargo in Dubai a couple hours after. All the passengers will disappear. It didn't disappear, no way. It's there, but you can't see it. And because you can't see it, you think it don't exist. Perspective does that to us, and we have to appreciate it. It is what and how we are built. And you can't say, no, the earth is upside down. I can't walk on that horizontal wall at the side there. I can't walk on this horizontal screen. A fly can, but I can't. But that's another conversation about gravity. I can't. I can only walk on the horizontal plane, not on vertical planes. If you see me walking on vertical planes, it's an imagination. It's a camera trick. I can't do that. You get the picture. So what has happened? We've inherited geography, science, physics, all kinds of lies that they've told to us. And so one of the things you need to understand is the seas are level. On a nice calm day, all the waters on the earth are level. But the landmass that juts out of the water is what is different. So that if you go to Egypt and then you can take the level of the water there and the level of the water in South Africa, those two waters will be the same. But the landmass that juts out is higher. So South Africa is higher and Egypt is lower. That's why the water runs from South Africa direction down to the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah. So that's how the earth is oriented. So you can't change it. You see, you can't get it upside down. You can't really change the scriptural land, the biblical land. You can only fake it. And how did they did? They copied the names of the places and went into that small land, 8,000 square miles or so, in the Levant, and tried to put lands that were spread all over a massive big area. And that was what Kitchener and Condor, the geologist and the cartographer, was doing back in the day. And I happen to have had a little bit of experience in that field. And maybe that was the training that Sunini was giving me for that purpose. So the Holy Land cannot be removed. You see, and we are not thinking that it's holy because they say it's holy. We're saying it's holy because Sunini says it's holy, and he said that to Moses at Mount Horeb. He said, Moses, take off your shoe and nip your hair because this place is holy. Show me Mount Horeb in that place. There is none. There's a fake story, a fake hill that they identify. Fire came on the mountain and burn it and scorch it and leave it there up to the day that they can't move it. So everything that they tell us is a lie. The Holy Land can only be in one place. And the Holy Land is connected to a holy people. Esau is not holy. Esau is unholy, but he's in the land. And he's got problems now because we know him. And so he's flushing him out. And we're watching. And when the time is right, we will put all the amalgamation, all the connections together and say, this is the brother of Akobi that was preventing the body of Akobi from being buried in Mamre in Cape Town, South Africa. And he died that same day when he tried to prevent the dead body of Akobi to be buried. You understand who Sonini is. Sonini Nanini is going to fight for the children of Akobi. And you don't have to believe that we are the chosen seed. Europe knows. That's why they had to get us off the continent, because with us on the continent, you can't get to enslave them easy. They will keep coming back. They keep coming back. And even in the diaspora, they keep coming back. And you thought when you sold us, those who did, that would have been the end of it, that Europe would have been satisfied. They came back and colonized you, and still today you are a slave to Europe, and you really need us. You really need us. See, Akobi's children in Egypt needed Moses. You need the Bantu in the diaspora, as the Bantu in the diaspora need you. That's the only way we're going to defeat this enemy. And you need the spirit of Sonini Nanini. That's the spirit of Ubuntu. That's the conversation. I exist for you and you exist for me. I don't exist for myself. You get the picture? That's the spirit of Sonini Nanini. That's the prayer of Msidisi. Father, I pray that they be one, as we are one. I in you and them in me. We are one. And this is not about the nations. See what the nations came to do? At Pentecost. They came to celebrate murder. I know you have not heard it like that before. All praises to Sonini Nanini. I hope I've been able to answer your question. And yeah. Okay. Can you please explain Numbers 31, verse 1 to 11? This could be the last question for tonight. I know that there are lots of people might have questions there, but we'll see how we can hold over. Let me just go to Numbers chapter 31. Is that the last chapter in Numbers? Numbers chapter 31. Vengeance on the children of Midian. Yeah. I was trying, did I try to answer this question early in the day? Yeah, because you see, all the nations that interacted with the Bantu people over the period of time, they came under judgment because they did not cooperate. And if you look here in verse 8, it says, before we get to verse, it's part of verse 1 to 11 anyhow, and they warred against the Midianites, and they warred against the Midianites. And Sonini Nanini commanded Moses, and they slew all the males, and they slew all the kings of Midian, beside the rest of them that were slain. Namely, and they called the names of the kings that were slain. These are the children of Midian. And there would have been a reason. Balaam also, the son of Beor, they slew with the sword. So we need to hear why. Why did this instruction was given? In verse 2 it says, I start from verse 1. And Sonini Nanini spake unto Moses, saying, avenge the children of Akobi of the Midianites. After shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, arm yourselves, we're going to fight against these people. One of every tribe 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Akobi. And you shall send to the war. So he's recruiting for the fight against the children of Midian. And so they were delivered out of the thousands of Akobi, 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, and they war against the Midianites, and they slew the Midianites, the kings, including Balaam, son of Beor, they slew. So you have to understand the story of Balaam, who was paid to curse the children of Akobi, and said he couldn't curse them because Sunini had already booked them. He can't do nothing about it anyhow. And the children of Akobi took all the women, and they burnt all the cities and castles, and good castles with fire. And they took all the spoils, and they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil unto Moses and Eleazar the priest, and unto the congregation of the children of Akobi, unto the camp at the plain of Moab, which are by Jordan near Jericho. You know, you be whenever they tell you where to think and where to look, you have to be careful with that. So the question you're asking is to explain this. Yeah, there is vengeance, and it couldn't be just the last one. Let's see if there's more vengeance on other people. Let's see. The chapter before. Numbers 31. Any judgment start here? No, let's take chapter 32. Reuben and Gad and Galid. So what I would say there is there's a judgment because of a relationship. Every people that interacted negatively with the Bantu, then and now, will be under judgment. He said that nation, singular, he will count all of them as one. That use his people, he's going to judge them. So if the children of Midian, the Midianites, did not do good to the Bantu people when they were coming out of Egypt or any activity, they are going to be judged. Or if they challenged them while they were coming out, they are going to be fought against. So then he said, don't fight with these ones and these ones, but if they come out to fight you, you have to get rid of them. So that's a basic tenets of what is being explained there. If you have got a more specific question or concern or a viewpoint that you'd like to ventilate, it's fine. But basically, it is because they did not do good or do well by the children of Akobi. So they were warred against, they were destroyed. And they spoiled them, and they took everything that they had. Yeah. And behold, these caused the children of Akobi through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against Sunini in the matter of Peor. And there was a plague among the congregation of Sunini. Now therefore kill every male. You see, so that was the reason. So you got to go and understand what happened with Balaam and Balak and Beor. What happened there? And you're going to see because he said he couldn't curse the children of Akobi, they had to put a stumbling block. Let me bring it more practical. Look, we are the righteousness of Sunini in earth. You can't curse us now that we wake up. We know who we are. Any curse you're putting is not going to stick now. Good. We're walking in the commandments. We're keeping Sunini's feast days and so on. But you could bring a stumbling block, something to cause us to fail. So let's say I'm a president of a country, but I'm keeping the commandments. I'm walking with Sunini. But you come now tell me that I must fly the rainbow flag over my nation. So you bring a stumbling block before me. You're going to affect my people because now I can't get aid if I'm depending on aid. I can't get this if I'm depending from the people that now want me to fly this rainbow. You know? So that's called a stumbling block. And that is what the conversation between Balaam, he said he can't curse them children because they've already been ibukun. But if you put a stumbling block, do something that will cause them to disobey their father, Sunini Nanini, and he will withdraw himself from them. That's the principle. That's why they were judged. Because he taught them what Europeans are doing today. When we come back to ourselves and we know Sunini is with us, they can't do us nothing. But we, on our own, have to violate ourselves or make ourselves abominable. And Sunini will withdraw. For example, if all Bantu men pick up pink bags and pink skirts and begin to behave like the brothers them, Sunini's judgment is falling on us because of our action. But nobody could get us to do that. We got to do it ourselves because we are awoken, because we have come out of that captivity. Our minds are open. So if you see me with a pink skirt and a pink bag, pray for me. You know something wrong. I'm making myself abominable. I'm going to be destroyed. You get the picture? That's what Balaam encouraged to happen. Just put a stumbling block in front of them and they will fail. And when they fail, Sunini's righteousness does not allow him to compromise. They have to be obedient by choice. That's why the Midianites they accommodated that obstacle in the way of the children of Akobi to make them fail. And that's why they had to be judged. I hope that was helpful. Hallelujah. Thank you. Okay. I think that could be the last question for tonight. We give all the thanks and the praise to Almighty Sunini Nanini. Do I have outstanding questions? I think not. And because I don't have, do women have to cover their head in the day-to-day life? No, we don't. These customs is like the brother that was telling me how to shave my beard and I shouldn't shave my beard. And then we saw when Akobi was going to Egypt to meet Joseph, he shaved himself, man. He do a good proper shaving, those things on the periphery. I don't want to treat as major things because a woman have to cover her hair. A woman here is a covering, is another conversation, and in the daily life. Why you want your hair to be covered? There's a whole conversation about why these things should happen. If you are not aware that if you just, it's a part of exposing and all of that, and the purpose for the exposure and all of that is involved there. And so you'd find that those are not commandments. You're not going to find that among the commandments of the Old Testament saying you must go cover your head because it's a sin. See? And for us, I need to talk about sin, the difference between sin and defilement. You are defiled because you attend a funeral. It's not that you sin, you're defiled. It means that you have to follow the ritual of, maybe washing, go bathe your skin or something of the sort, and stay outside for so many times, so many hours, and then you considered that that period of defilement has passed. Is not sin, you see. But we everything has become sin, self-inflicted nonsense. That is what sin is, and we have accrued everything to be sin. So a lady is seeing her monthly, having her monthly experience, and then you say that she's unclean. She's not unclean, right? It is what has to happen. She's not a sin. It's not sin. She don't need to be ostracized and all of that kind of story. No. And in the same faith, you're not supposed to have relationship with her in that period too. See? And so the nations have mixed everything up, put it up there, and left us to sort it out. And we give thanks and praise that Sunini Nanini is helping us. So if you feel like covering your head, cover your head. If the reason for you not covering your head is not a nice reason, then that's a problem. Everything we do, we must do it as to Sunini. If Sunini was there If Msindisi was there, what would you have done? That's the question you must ask in some of these matters. And then you would see the relevance and the importance. As to coming to keeping the commandments, there ain't no debate on the keeping of the commandments. But we can talk about hair and beard and some people just don't have hair. You know, anyhow, I want to thank everyone. I think that might have been the last question. I want to thank everyone for coming in the chat room tonight. May the Most High Almighty Sunini Nani Samandla continue to watch over the Bantu until while we continue to experience this glorious resurrection. I've went far over the time, just trying to answer all the questions. Thank you and good night.
Black King Education TV, waking up the Bantus from sleep to sleep. Black King Education.
Okay, this is Black Free Education TV, where we're stepping back from the brink towards a more meaningful future. With our theme verse being, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. So if your ancestors were scattered via the transatlantic slave trade or the Mohammedan Arabic Islamic slave trade, then you are the children of Almighty Sunini Nanini Samandla, the mighty one of Abraham, Isaac, and Akobi. Oh yes, Black history, the study of the Bible is Black history. And so you're welcome tonight. Welcome to the show. Welcome. Share the link to everyone and let somebody know tonight that you are connected to the show. We give him all the praise, we give him all the glory, we give him all the honor because he is due all the praise and all the honor. Oh yes, share the link and text a friend, and after the show, make sure you follow us on all the channels. It is on Telegram Live, it is YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and the recording is uploaded on Bantu. You are welcome tonight to the show. All praises to Almighty Sunini Nanini Samandla. We give him all the praise and all the glory.
Waking up the Bantus from sea to sea. Black King Education TV. Waking up the Bantus from sea to sea. Black King Education TV.